Hello everybody, this is Why Evil Exists Part 2. So in my previous video, I explained that evil exists because of incorrect movement, right? And movement is governed by the principles of cause and effect and equivalent exchange. So I'm gonna restate the definition of consciousness. Consciousness is the merger of the mind and the body. Is the harmonization of the mind and the body. It is the understanding of self in relationship to the exterior world in order to have a subjective experience in order to move and act. This is very important because your consciousness is the engine of your movements. You have to be aware of your movements in order to act, in order to move. So, because you are aware of your actions, you are aware of your movements, right? Thus, free will exists because it's a feature of consciousness. My consciousness, right? I'm aware I have two arms, two legs, and a body. I'm aware of how my arms move, all the movements in my arms, right? I'm aware of how my legs move, how my body can move, right? So therefore, because I have knowledge, because I have conscious awareness of how my body can move, therefore I can move and act at will. You see? So I can move my right hand, I can move my left hand, I can move my right leg, I can move my right leg, my left leg. So as you can see, we have choices embedded within inside of us automatically. This is why hard determinism is a lie. They say choice does not exist. That is false. You have choice all over your body, right? I can choose to close my right eye. I can choose to close my left eye. We have choices automatically. So this is very important. In the previous video, I said there's a right way to move and there's an incorrect way to move. And the incorrect way to move causes pain and suffering. I'm going to demonstrate this right now. Okay, this is my arm, right? I can move it this way. I can turn it around like this, right? But I'm conscious and I know that I can move my arm this way. That's the right and correct movement. This is good. This is what I want, right? If my elbow, if my arm, my forearm hyperextends past this limit, that's going to cause pain and suffering. So as you can see, this is the incorrect movement. This is how evil exists in a sense, right? Because evil only exists as a potential. My arm can only move like this. This is the correct movement. If my arm hyperextends this way, it's gonna, I might scream in agony. I'm gonna need a cast. I'm gonna have to visit a doctor so they can fix it in place because I did the incorrect movement. You see? So we also have to discuss the more knowledge you have, the more consciously aware you become, the more your human intellect increases, right? The more options you have. You see? And because knowledge is neutral, right? It depends on who uses it, right? Everything that we have in this world, everything that we see in this world is information. It is knowledge, and our body understands this. Our body interacts with this knowledge, right? We can see, we can smell, we can taste, we can move, we can feel, we can listen, right? We have our senses and we have a mind to think. Thinking is also a sense. We have our minds to think and gather information in this world. Knowledge is it's a double-edged sword. It's good and evil. It depends on the user. It's really neutral, right? But the person that uses this knowledge can determine whether it's good or evil. Incorrect movement. Now, I'm going to explain what incorrect movement is. If you use something according to its purpose and design, that is good. If you use that same thing, if you use that same thing not according to its purpose and intention and design, that is a bad thing. This is where the potential of evil can come into play. So, to know something is to also know what it isn't. To know the purpose and intention of something is also to know not its purpose and not its intention, right? Earlier I told you this is the purpose of my arm, to move this way. It was not designed, it was not purpose to hyperextend, because that's going to cause pain and suffering. Those who have knowledge can manipulate my arm in a way that it's not supposed to, causing incorrect movement. You see how evil is a potential. There's a right way to do things, and there's a wrong way to do things. There's a right way to move, and there's an incorrect way to move. I'll give you another example. I have knowledge of a butter knife, right? A butter knife is made to spread butter. It's made to spread peanut butter or jam, right? That's the intention and purpose of the butter knife. However, someone with their human intellect can take that same butter knife and use it as a weapon to hurt other people. That is the incorrect use and purpose of the butter knife. So now we see evil becomes the misapplication, the misuse, and the perversion and corruption of an object intended for good. Do you understand? But evil can only emerge because of the human intellect, the conscious awareness of the individual, and the knowledge they possess. You understand? So the more knowledge you have, the more your conscious awareness increases, the more your human intellect increases, the more options you have. Now, it's up for the individual to use that knowledge according to its purpose. The only way to do that, though, is through wisdom. Knowledge must be balanced with wisdom. If it's not balanced with wisdom, your knowledge can turn into a cunning. It turns to guile. It turns to a deceptive imagination, a creative imagination where it becomes corrosive. You see, a car was intended to transport people, but if I misuse the car, if I pervert the car, I can use the car as a weapon to mow people down. This is why evil is a potential. It can only manifest itself through action. The misuse or the incorrect use of the object. So I hope everybody understands. I hope people love this video. Share this video with others. This is why in my previous video I said, be aware of how you move. Be aware of the actions you take, because you cannot take it back. The laws of cause and effect, the principle of equivalent exchange, has this reality in such a way that we cannot rewind time. We cannot undo the effects of our actions. We cannot undo the words that we speak, because these principles are in place. Time is forward moving. Time is always forward moving. Right now, for instance, because the nature of time itself is forward moving, this is why our actions is always forward. When I'm walking to, school, or if I'm walking to work, it's always forward moving. When I speak, it's always a forward projection so the person can hear me. This is how reality works. and we have to be careful of how we move. We have to be, we have to think before we move. All right, so I hope everybody understands. Evil is a potential, and through free will, as a feature of consciousness and the human intellect, it can manifest itself if we misuse, misapply, or pervert or corrupt whatever an object or thing is that was meant for good. Peace.